Hey folks, welcome back to Biz Talks. In case you are just now tuning in, my name is Rick Gutierrez and I am your host and your business advocate. We are continuing our show here today. We've got another expert in his own field and no stranger to the show as well, Dr. Rickey Chavez, who is a phenomenal real estate professional and has been in business for quite some time, and he's going to bring us some knowledge as to what's going on towards the year's end. So, Rickey Chavez, welcome back to the show.
Hey man, I really like that introduction. I wish I was a doctor. But no, not yet.
You know what?
But no, I appreciate you reaching out to me today. How's it going?
Yeah, you know what? I think of you as such an expert that you're almost like a doctor to me. That's the reason why that rolled off like that. But
Is that what it was? Man, I feel really blessed right now.
But you know what? We've had some great conversations on this show in the past, and we're just going to continue those conversations. But right now, towards the end of 2024, there are some really amazing things happening in the real estate market. And I know these personally because my wife is a realtor, but there are some really great things. Let's talk about first about new construction, these builders and what they have on inventory, what they have on incentives and things like that. So you're the expert, Rickey. Tell us what's going on in the new construction world.
Well, the first I want to make sure that everybody understands specifically, actually not even just the first time home buyers, but if you go to see a new construction location, take a realtor, use a professional. The individuals there that are working at the offices, they have the fiduciary responsibility to the builder. They provide guidance for the builders. They present it to you. But you need somebody that also has your interests and may be able to answer the questions that you don't know. Now, coming back to Rick's question, as far as incentives, right now, the 31st of December, many of the builders, that finishes off their year. Some of the builders end in October of their year, some in November, but the ones that are in December, right now, their incentives have to do with closing costs, maybe packages for washers, dryers, refrigerators, maybe sprinklers, just a host of different opportunities out there for individuals to go find the home of their dreams and get some assistance in purchasing it before the end of the year. So it's really important that, don't count your eggs now. Go ahead and go out there, find what's going on with the new bills, and see how they can help you. Take a realtor with you because they can answer the questions.
I 100% agree. I cannot tell you how many times we've met people where they say they bought new construction, and I said, well, were you able to tap into all of the great incentives that a home builder could potentially offer? And they were like, you know what, they only offered us like, $3,000 towards closing costs or something like that. And I'm like, well, did you have a realtor with you? And they're like, no, we didn't. I'm like, that's the very big difference, because I know many realtors across the city of Houston. As you know, I do professional networking for a living. And so taking a professional real estate expert like Rickey Chavez or anyone on his team could potentially end up saving you thousands of dollars. And I'm not exaggerating. I mean, Rickey, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but many times when you take Rickey or somebody on Rickey's team to visit a new home builder site, you could potentially end up saving thousands. Am I pretty close on the dotted line?
You can definitely get some definite incentives. I think the one thing that you want to also think and understand, okay, when you're buying a pre-sale home, the house is built already. But maybe you decide to build your own ground up. So you have the opportunity to bring a third-party inspector in. That there's three levels. They'll inspect at foundation, then pre-drywall, where they have all the frames up, and then at the end. So that let's be honest with each other. Homes are built by man. Man has good days. Man has bad days.
Sure.
So believe it or not, throughout the years that we've done new construction, we've had many opportunities where our inspectors have come in and found maybe possibilities, things that are wrong. I'll give you one example. We had where the homeowner, they bought a water softener, and the water softener, this is pre-drywall. The water softener, it was run to the outside faucet. So it was also, the water softener was bringing water to the outside versus just within the house. which in some people they're concerned about the environment. I'm not really really versed on that, but we're paying the extra, putting the extra salt in and water softeners and things like that. We need to make sure that it stays within the home. But the inspector found that we would have never seen that or known that
Right.
had they not done that, you know, uh, pre drywall inspection.
Absolutely. So I'll tell you my story briefly. I purchased a new home about 4 years ago, and I had 3 inspections from my own independent, third-party inspector. And it was inspection from foundation to pre-drywall, all of the structure, systems, ACs, and everything was done prior to pre-wall. And then
Mm-hmm.
once the project was completed, we had him come back out again a third time and give us one final inspection on everything. It makes a very big difference. I happen to be a big believer that if you're going to go purchase a new home, to each his own, but for me personally, is buying a new home is quite an experience. You're going to go from potentially designing your home, going to a design center to pick out tiles and cabinets and color of carpet and things like that. And that's one thing that most first-time home buyers don't know, that that's available to them. You can design a home to your liking instead of settling for something that's already been pre-built, right? So tell us about your first-time home buyer's experience, Ricky, when you take a new home buyer to a builder's site to take a look at their model homes.
So one of the things we do, we want to make sure that we understand what price range we're in. Because right now, believe it or not, there are new homes out there as affordable as $250,000 and maybe even a little bit less than that, up to the million. So you can buy any kind of new construction you really want based on your budget, right? So that's one thing. Number two is a lot of builders, probably I'm going to gamble here, about 95% plus, they have a lender that's tied in. So they can get you pre-approved. You'll understand kind of what the payment will look like, what the incentives are. I mean, some of the lenders right now are offering a 4.99 interest rate, when in a pre-sale home, it could be as high as 6% or better,
Right.
considering the fact that, you're going with an outside lender. So these lenders are tied in. Now, then we sit down with the new home counselor. At that point, the individual will sit down and they'll ask you questions based on what you want. I'll tell you, and I'm going to put a plug in for LGI. They got probably one of the best sales process ever. The new home counselor brings the individual in, takes them to a map, kind of points out where that neighborhood specifically is, and then they start asking, so where do you work? Okay, where's most of your family at? Where do you do most of your activities at? They're trying to make sure that the neighborhood that you're at fits your way of life.
Right.
That's a big deal. Instead of trying to figure out, oh, I want to get you into this house, they want to make sure the location makes sense. Then they take it and start talking to you about what your needs are. And it keeps going. You know, early on in my first couple of years, I was fortunate enough to do mystery shopping um, for builders. What I basically did was I was able to review the videos that people were going in to look at houses and grade the counselors on their techniques. And from that, I was able to learn a lot. And there's a lot of agents out here that know a lot. There's actually a qualification that you can get for new construction. So it's really important
Yeah.
that you know who you're talking to when you go to see the counselor.
Absolutely. So let's transition a little bit to that first time home buyer. When, Ricky, when you or someone on your team first gets that phone call or that referral, and you make first contact with that first time home buyer, what is the qualifying process? What are your first talk tracks in terms of what does the conversation look like when you first initiate contact?
Well, amazing enough, we definitely want to determine their needs and interests. What home kind of fits their needs. But even before that, we want to find out what is a comfortable monthly payment. Because you may be qualified for 400,000 and a home purchase, but not want the payment that goes along with it. And when people pre-qualify you, they take a look at like the major things, credit cards, loans. They take care of any bills like that, but they don't look like cell phone bills if you got 10 kids, or they don't take of your utilities, or all these other things. So you really need to factor in kind of what is a comfortable monthly payment. And the second piece
Hmm.
is, all right, what area makes sense to you? Because in Houston, there's a bunch of different neighborhoods. Each of the different neighborhoods usually have different tax rates. Tax rates is very important to the buyer or what the buyer can spend. The last another piece is if you're a veteran. Now I'm a disabled veteran, and my buying power is a little different based on the fact of what I have to pay taxes or do not have to pay taxes in different neighborhoods. So we take all that into effect. We start mapping out the schools, the areas, kind of the activities where they need to be, and we start showing them what new bills are in that area, and then we start walking out to them. What I like to say is my team, a team of 8, and we do a lot of visits to home builders. We have to learn because incentives change. What they build changes. So it's really important that we know what's going on in our areas, so that when you sit down and talk to us, we can say, "Oh, you're looking for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, uh, 1-story ranch under 300. Well, maybe we need to come to this area and this what's around." So we better help fit what you need, not make you fit what the houses are selling for. It's really important that a person is comfortable and not what we call a house.
Yeah, absolutely. And you have no idea how much it pleases me to know that you and your team are going about having these educational conversations with, the first-time home buyer, because there are many times to where, yeah, they'll come in pre-qualified from a, third-party lender and say, for example, they're pre-qualified for $500,000, but that doesn't mean that you have to purchase a home of that value, right? It all has to coincide with what is your budget, where do you want to be, and what's the best situation for you and your family. And I'm glad that you guys are having those conversations, because it's crucial for the buyer. And then you want those buyers to continue to be clients for you for many years. Is that correct?
100% right. And I think something you said earlier, I'm very involved in networking also. So I make sure that I network myself with like lenders. What I mean by like lenders, the individuals that care about the well-being of the buyer. I tell my team, don't chase money, take care of people. You take care of people, they'll just multiply and multiply.
Absolutely.
And with the lenders that we
Absolutely.
like to take our time to get to know and refer out to our clients, we want to make sure that they have the same mindset so that they can sit down with them. They can kind of go over everything, their qualifications, and maybe they're not qualified today. They have what if programs where they can coach a person through paying different things off so that they can meet the requirements to buy a home at a later time. I
Right.
will tell you this. I always tell new buyers, or even anyone I talk to, do not try to do it on your own. You need to sit down with somebody that does it for a living and let
Right.
them help you tell you what to buy. I had one incident a couple years back where a guy got a good lump of money and paid off a credit card instead of his car. The car was a $500 a month payment, but he only owed 3,000. The credit card was 10,000, but only $160 a month. He paid the
Right.
10,000 off, and the debt to income was a big factor in him qualifying. So you need to let somebody who knows
Absolutely.
what they're doing help you do that.
Absolutely. Well, hey, Ricky, it's always a great conversation having you on the show. I mean, you're educating us, you're educating everyone that's watching and listening. But we want to thank you for being on the show. But before we go, we
Thanks
want
a
to
lot.
give you an opportunity for those folks that are listening that want to get in touch with you. How do they do so?
Yeah, well, you can reach me at 832-541-7545. You can go to my website, Ricky Chavez at Better Homes and Gardens, Gary Green, or the Ricky Chavez team in Google. Again, I have a team of 8. We speak 8 languages, so we can kind of help you on your terms. And we want to do that because it's important for us to make sure that you guys get the best support necessary to buy your dream place.
All right, my friend. We appreciate you being on the show again. Thank you for being here. And like always, we'll catch up with you on other episodes, I'm sure. And we'll see you next time.
All right, appreciate you guys. Have happy holidays.
Likewise. All right, folks, we've come to the end of this particular segment. We'll be right back with another guest. Stay right there.